Well, hello everyone here at the Alianza and online. And we are really happy to have Ryan Brooks here today, thanks to the US Embassy who just brought Ryan here. Ryan has been here for the Access Camp, and he will now be delivering this workshop with you. Ryan has well, he's a specialist in camps, but he's also a scholar, and he has a master's in, I can't remember right now,
ESOL,
in a master in.
and a doctorate in international education.
Okay, that's right. Thank you, Ryan. And we are delighted to have Ryan here today. So thanks to all of you for attending. And now I'm passing it to Ryan, who will be our guest speaker today.
Okay.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Hello. Okay, those from Montevideo, we have a group of you today. There's about 10 of you here. We also welcome those of you from the interior. So hopefully you'll be able to follow along with what we're doing today. We're talking about multiple intelligences and how you can use these to create a dynamic unit plan. So, the teachers here have already been given a learning survey, which some of you in the interior may have received. So if you will go ahead and complete this exercise, take about 5 minutes. We've had a little extra time, so we understand if you also need a little extra time. What you will do is just read the prompt in the left-hand corner, that's in the black. Of the 3 responses to the right, you'll circle the one that best characterizes you. When you're finished, you'll total up the number circled, and you'll write this number on the other side, page 2. So when you're finished, if you have your cell phone, do you have your cell phone? If you go to this site, Poll, POLLEV.com, backslash, you put my name, Ryan Brux, 405, we should open up a survey. Can everybody see this? So it's Poll, POLLEV.com, backslash, Ryan Brux, 405. Any problems? I don't think it matters, it doesn't matter.
Because they are not seeing the screen. You can repeat maybe the where they have to go because we have 6 euros.
So for those of you in the interior, I know that the screen is a little bit difficult to see. Again, you can take your cell phone, go to your browser, and go to POLLEV.com, then backslash my name, Ryan Brux, which is RyanBrux, and the number is 405.
Yes. The ones that have most.
Yeah, the ones that you have the most. 4, 5, and write that down when you get 5. And then yours is showing up. Are you guys getting it? Yeah? Are you able to do it? Yeah? So I see we have about 2/3 of us so far here are visual learners. We have one auditory learner, and we have one visual with Headland who doesn't have a dominant style. So we can continue inputting this into your cell as we get started here, and then keep generating statistics. But overall, it looks like most of you are visual learners. Yeah. What's the auditory learner? Auditory. So you understand what I'm saying, right? Don't you understand words? All right.
What if you were mixed? That's a good one.
That's a good thing.
It's good.
That's a good thing. That's it. I mean, I can't say it's necessarily good or bad, but it means that you learn in different ways, which is good, and a lot of these students learn to great. So, so then the outcomes of today's session is to determine your own learning style, which you have done. You'll describe different learning styles. We'll describe different learning intelligences. Do we know those? And then we'll collaborating to design a mini-unit. And depending on time, I know that some of you have got to go back to your classes in about 45 minutes, so we want to be respectful of your time. So we already did your learning style. We know that we have 3. A visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. So let's just go over what does this mean. And for our visual learners, let's see how they will review some of these. So visual learners, remember what they see rather than what they hear. True? Visual learners? They remember diagrams and pictures. Yes. Prefer to read and write rather than listen. Yes? Not quite? You say you prefer to, right? Okay. You have trouble remembering verbal instructions. You need an overall view and purpose before beginning a project. Yes. You prefer art or music?
No. Both.
Yeah, you prefer both, yes. And sometimes you tune out when you're trying to listen. Like I'm listening to you and so those are visual learners. So some of us can see ourselves here, yes? So we have auditory learners. Auditory learners learn by here. They can follow verbal instructions easily. Who was our audio? Let's see what this. They follow verbal instructions easily. True. And remember that. You like to hear someone explain and like explaining to someone else. Really? Yeah. You like to name and discussing things. You got it.
It's like until now, it's like a perfect description.
You tend to talk to you themselves, like maybe internally, while you are working. You enjoy reading aloud.
Sometimes it helps when you work remembering.
Very good.
Read out loud.
Interesting. And you prefer music to art? Both. Okay. Very interesting, right? So you saw yourself a lot with this. Excellent. All right. Then we have kinesthetic learners. I know that we're not a lot of kinesthetic learners, but you can kind of tell what I mean. I like to move around quite a bit. So, kinesthetic learners, we often take notes or even draw pictures while we are listening. We remember best when we are physically moving, physically doing something. We memorize by walking and seeing. So if I walk around Montevideo, I can remember where I am. It's very, my mom calls me the human GPS. They're like hands-on activities, lots of hands-on activities, and they prefer games that involve gestures and pantomime. So at the camp that I was at in Minas, we did a lot of things that were incorporating kinesthetic learning. In your students, can you tell your students some of them are more kinesthetic? Yeah. What are their behaviors? Do they have a hard time in their desk? Are they? Yes.
The other ones who go to clean the board and to help you with everything. Tape recorder and everything else.
Ah, yes, and you actually.
They're the ones that are always ready.
They're always ready, and so you put them in charge of different things like washing the board and playing with the video recorder.
Or activities that you have to go around the classroom.
Ah, yeah. With activities that you have to go around.
All the pictures on the wall.
Ah, so you do like gallery walks, yeah? And you have the students get up and move. Great. So I know that we said that there were 3, visual, auditory, kinesthetic. There is a fourth that often is not mentioned. Do you know what that one is?
Face.
Close. This is really, so there's big movements,
Yes.
but then there's smaller movements. This would be tactile. Have you heard of tactile? Yeah. So this is very similar to kinesthetic, but you learn by touching. I'm also very tactile. If I go into a store, I need to feel everything, like the quality of the clothing. You do this
All the time.
all the time, right?
Yes.
And I like textures, okay? So we often learn inductively rather than deductively, meaning we're really kind of internal. We tend towards psychomotor over abstract thinking. So really like the finer touch. And we prefer personal connection. So this is definitely one for me. If I'm working with you, I prefer to work closely with you and develop a really solid relationship. And we follow directions that we write ourselves. So this would also be for, creating rules too, having students develop their own rules. They can process that a bit more. And they also benefit from demonstrations. Any questions about this? So, ma'am, what was your name? Alianza. You said you were one of who said that we didn't have a dominant learning style.
I identified with all of them.
You identified with all of
With
them.
all of them.
Perfect. And we have to recognize as teachers that dual learning styles do exist. So we can be visual and kinesthetic, or we can be visual and auditory. Okay. So here are some strategies for teaching students with different learning styles. So we can reinforce the verbal learning, we can say it, we can repeat it, we can clap it, we can have them draw it, we can have them write it, lots of different ways. For visual learners, we can use bright colors on the board. Yeah, opportunities for this. And then games that involve movement for kinesthetic learners. Okay, so we talked about learning styles. Now we're going to talk about learning intelligences. You've heard of this guy?
Yeah.
Gardner. He had the 8s. So we have verbal and linguistic intelligences. What do we think that this is? Verbal and linguistic. What are you good at? Speaking. You can express your feelings very fluently. You can persuade others. Anybody like this?
I talk to myself all the time.
You talk to yourself. I think that this is a little bit different though. This will fall probably under intrapersonal. Talking to yourself.
I find that when I put my thoughts in words, I can think clearer. I can think, I can reason out.
Very nice, yeah.
Where do I go?
Well, I think we'll come back to it. It's intrapersonal, I think. We have logical and mathematical. So this is about reasoning, logical thinking, and doing mathematical problems. What do we think? Anybody? Very logical, yes? Visual and spatial intelligence, creating and interpreting visual images. So this is your visual learners. Anybody? Bodily kinesthetic, again. Woo! Moving. Anybody? Musical, rhythmic. We just had a music camp for our access camp. There were some students who loved every single activity. Why? Because they have kind of a fondness for music. So this is about feeling a rhythm to express a mood, detecting and analyzing musical themes. Interpersonal intelligence. So this is understanding and kind of verbalizing your own internal thoughts. Being very connected to yourself. Who is this? Oh, we have lots of interpersonal. Is this just for teachers, or is this like an?
I think it is because of the age.
So because of the age, huh? And then we have interpersonal intelligence between people. Interpersonal. So that means you relate really well with different people, and you can kind of sense when Rosario here, she's having kind of a difficult day, so I'm gonna ask her maybe about her problems, you know, see how she's doing, checking in. Anybody? Can you read people? You can read people.
Yes.
Teachers are very, no?
I can read between lines.
You can read between the lines. Uh-huh. And then we have the naturalist intelligence, and that's an understanding of nature and seeing patterns in the way nature works. So these are people who really like to be outdoors. They like to classify things, organize things by shape, color. Anybody? Scientific? What is scientific? All right. So I'm interested in kind of knowing if you could go back to your phones, if you had to choose, sorry. Can you see it?
Only one?
Yeah, just try to choose just the dominant one. Are you able to?
One or two or all of them?
I think you're only able to choose one, right? See here.
That's not fair. I can't.
It's difficult to fit in a box like this.
It's difficult to fit in a box,
Yes.
and that's okay. That's okay. No, it's good that you say that. I mean, here we have some numbers coming in. Again, for those of you in the interior, you can respond at pollev.com /Ryan Brux 405. And right now we're kind of seeing some come in, verbal, linguistic, logical, mathematical. Who's the musical? Musical? Uh-huh. Musical. Interpersonal, who's the interpersonal? Great, we have, so we can kind of see, it's kind of all over the range, right? The other responses, so we have about a third who are verbal linguistic, about a third who are musical rhythmic, and then about 17% who are logical, mathematical, and interpersonal. Any questions on this? Like you said this was difficult because? Yeah, it really is quite difficult to put yourself in one of these categories. I would say, so you have like 2 or 3 or 4? Mm-hmm. Everybody else have about 2 or 3 or 4?
More than 4.
More than 4. Yeah, that's great. So, you know, so we can't, you're absolutely right, we cannot just put ourselves in a box, and we can't expect that our students are going to hold just one of these characteristics as well. So here are the factors that lead to all these learning differences. We've got, can everybody?
Age. Yes.
I'm gonna just get it here. Everybody?
Yes.
So we have age, gender, do you agree?
Yes.
Maybe?
Could be.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes the gender, especially in society, like, oh, girls can't do math. And so this puts something in girls' minds that they cannot do engineering or they cannot do mathematics. But as we see here, this is a preferred learning style. All right, so gender maybe, I'm glad that you kind of said, yeah, I agree. How about education? Sure. If you have students at the public schools and all they do are look at the board, the teacher, memorize, It's going to be a lot different for them. How about their cognitive ability? The personality, do you agree? Yeah. Motivation?
Yes.
Socioeconomic status. How does this affect learning differences, do you think?
Because it is related, the socioeconomic studies is related to education, the knowing of the world. For example, if you give kind of example and they don't have knowledge of the world, it's very difficult for students to get the idea, to understand with that example that you're giving.
For sure.
For example, if you talk about going to a hotel, how many have never been in a hotel?
Yeah, we're talking about students who've even been at a hotel. Some students have no experience with this. So their learning experience is going to be shaped by all of these experiences that we normally would consider that they have. So we cannot consider, we can't assume that they've done all of these things. And of course, their language proficiency. Does this contribute to learning differences?
Yeah.
Sure. So what can we do as teachers? Give up?
Never.
What can we do for these students? We have access students, we have different students from the public schools, teachers from the interior, you have different situations with socioeconomics. What do we do?
We give them tools.
Give them tools?
And I was going to say differentiation, but now that you put it there.
There we go, yes, we can do differentiation with their different learning styles. So, can somebody read? Can you read this differentiation?
Not me, I can't see a
Can
thing.
you
I
read it?
forgot
Can you read it
my
first?
glasses.
Okay. What does the teacher do with so many different learning styles? Differentiation. Teacher responds to differences in learners. Teacher variation in teaching in order to create the best learning experience possible for students.
I love it. So do we have to do this as teachers?
Yes.
Can we always use the workbook? Who is the workbook great for? Who's the workbook great for? What kind of student?
Tactile learning.
Tactile learner, yeah, because you gotta maybe
Visual.
visual learners. What else?
What's the one that likes to write? And
Which ones like to write? The visual learners. Uh-huh. Is a workbook great for a kinesthetic learner? What do you think? Not really. If you're using the workbook all the time, right? Yeah. You can use the workbook like this, right? I love that. All right, so what can teachers do? Well, they can vary the language type or the content. You can vary the learner tasks or the activities. Teaching different learning strategies. Helping students take responsibility for their own learning and using group work. How many of you use group work? Group work? Yeah, this is often not used. I've observed lots of public schools in South America, and group work is something that is not often used in the public schools. So it's also something that the students are introduced to, maybe here at Alianza, in your classrooms, in the interior, where you've learned these kind of strategies for working with students appropriately. All right. So let's see how this works. I want to kind of workshop this out for 15 minutes. I think we'll get done with this session in probably about 15 or 20 minutes, so you guys will have some time for lunch. But Thinking about your intelligence. I'm going to go back to this. So thinking about a preferred intelligence, and I know that you have many intelligences, yes? But if I could have you choose one that you are kind of passionate about. So maybe visual,
Yeah, Malo.
mathematical, what would you choose?
I thought 4 points in each, so I have just no idea.
You have no idea?
Visual would be.
You want to do visual?
Yeah.
Okay, why don't I have you come over to Rosario here?
You need a phone? No.
No. Come over to Rosario. Can you choose one?
Yeah.
Choose an intelligence that you're interested in. Musical, very good. So you guys will work together.
That one. I would be taking the kid. So the bodily intelligence.
Body kinesthetic. Okay, good.
Body kinesthetic.
Body kinesthetic. So you two will work together. Interpersonal?
Yes.
The three of you?
Yes.
Or maybe I can have you, maybe could you choose, why don't you choose one other? Yeah, why don't you choose mathematical? Oh. Okay, so you each have a partner, and those in the interior, we're going to do a little bit of a workshop here. So the teachers here have chosen a preferred intelligence and have paired up. So I want this to be kind of an interactive workshop, I think just for maybe 10 minutes. We've identified the learning intelligence that we want to focus on. Thinking about a topic, and let's just go very basic with, it's in all of the textbooks, yes? Environment, right? Think about an activity that you could do that would support this intelligence based on this topic. Is that clear?
Yes, it is.
All right, so if you were to do, if you were focusing your intelligence on music, how could you use that music to teach something about the environment? So you might think about songs, all right? So together you would think about just a short activity, maybe we'll spend like five to 10 minutes on this depending on where you're at. Think of one activity that would support the intelligence for your topic, and I'll come around, and then we'll share it out.
Visual lesson.
Sources they have best appreciated for the topic. what they like here. And I don't feel like it. Something like what they usually.
Yeah, thank you. Perfect, that's it.
Yeah, like a play.
Okay. What do we decide on? What little activity?
We already chose the song. It's called Recycle.
Ah, like Jack Johnson. Reduce, reuse, recycle. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
for example, take a shower instead of using the how we can help the environment.
Nice. Perfect. And where do you find this? On YouTube? Yeah, it's a 3 hour.
Yeah, so teach the children how we can save the planet.
Yeah, it's we have, what are we doing? Environment.
And the depends on
From your point of view, related to the environment, either on the positive side or on the negative side, in order to create like a sort of positive
why
way.
is this?
Exactly, and they will be represented.
Cool. I'm gonna have you guys present. Can you think of a math lesson for environment?
What it used to be, or a better create, and then
Voy a sacarlas un poco.
and then they could come up with that generate less.
What is
Showing the result.
Yeah, so it's not even like math. But it's
I know.
like,
I know.
No, I was like,
Yes.
that's true. I know.
Your previous.
Yeah, it was really bad, really bad.
I mean, that's really
So I think
showing
that
the relationship between them. You know, that's-
to discover their beneficial. And that has
Okay, well,
Oh, this is, okay.
I have to turn on the mic. Yeah.
All right, so thank you so much for this. This was, but you could kind of see if you had a little bit more time to work together, you know, you'd be able to get maybe all, you'd be able to hit all different intelligences. I did this in Bolivia and they were having a water crisis. And so they decided to do different activities for all of these intelligences to talk about the devastations of a drought in their communities. Let's just go around just very briefly, just tell us what your activity would be for visual learning.
Okay, the first thing we pointed out was to show pictures, which we could Google, but Mia was much more practical, and she said that there were. Sorry, was much more practical. She said that you could find lots of material in our books, pictures of devastated areas and beautiful sceneries and the difference and how you could turn one into another and why some have been devastated and what has been done, and then you would get the production of language, vocabulary, etc., etc., etc. But starting with pictures, showing that.
Well, thank you very much. And we'll go over to musical.
Okay, we thought about using a song called Recycle, Reduce, Reuse, the 3 Rs. Yes, and we thought maybe we could do something in the plans activity, the phrases in the correct order, or something like that.
Teaching the students how to say the plant.
Say that one more time.
Teaching the students how to say the plant.
Perfect. Great. Thank you. You can pass it down there.
Okay, we were discussing, the kinesthetic students, we were discussing, for example, depending on how large is the group, of 3 groups, the first group could represent planting, and the other group could represent recycling, and the other group could represent pollution. What I mean by represent is like a play. I prepare a play about these 3 different aspects of the environment.
Nice. Very nice.
So we have mathematical intelligence, and we were thinking about a project, right? And so the students were going to control, kind of count how many bags, how many bottles they needed to recycle every week at their houses. And then they were going to do some research in order to find some statistics worldwide. And then they will create a project and so that they can show their parents about recycling and showing them ways in which they could improve recycling in their houses.
Nice.
Okay, we decided on an interview, something interpersonal.
For which intelligence?
Interpersonal.
Interpersonal.
And the idea is here is that the interest in the other person, bringing information out, and then an interview related to the environment. And so it could be something, for example, interviewing the person about how they think that we can improve or help the environment. And then this could be something that 2 people work on interpersonally, and kind of an interesting activity also. Interviews work really well.
Yeah, so
What I do.
I think as teachers, I mean, you guys are very clever and, you are doing a lot of these things, but I mean, you can kind of see how you can build a unit off of these different activities. Now, personally, I like the workbook, like I like going to the dentist. I know that I need to do it. I know that but I don't necessarily like it all the time. And so think about it from the perspective of your students. Sometimes they see it like pulling teeth too. I think. Last quote, too often we judge people on too little information instead of judging someone for what they do or where they are in their life. Figure out why they do what they do and how they got to where they are. And I think that supports this intelligence because there's so many things that play into our learning styles. And so getting to know the students is essential to this process. So that's it. Thank you so much.